Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to another tutorial. This one's going to be about all the setups that I'm going to be using in upcoming months. I hope that the performance not going to fail too much, but basically this is what I'm watching and what is in my strategy portfolio right now, based on all the tools that you will find on emini.today. Most of them are based on S&Ps, and they are divided on intraday stuff, multi-day, mid-term, and long-term. I think I'm gonna go with intraday stuff in this video. We'll see how long it's gonna take, but so the one that it seems makes the most confusion, we'll start with that, and it's called the Momo trend, right? So that's the one which is basically trend following strategy, and what we use for that is practically only this yellow line, which is Momo 2, so momentum 2. It's based on the transaction flow, and it kind of accumulates all those events that are important and averages it down. It averages down the force of it, and we'll use it in that setup. So let's jump right into it. Like I said, you don't look at Momo 1, so this blue line. You just need to monitor the the slower one, which is Momo 2, because accumulated transactions are moving a bit slower than the order flow, which is that blue line here, the blue indicator. They both are in the same scale, so 1,000 to minus 1,000. Sometimes it's a bit more, but so basically the setup, the trend setup is based on 3 key points. So the first thing which you need to see for the trend change to take place is that, for example, after the Momo 2 had been below minus 400, this is minus 400, right? Okay, this red line is plus 400, something like that. So basically, and this is 0, right? The purple line. So basically, when the Momo 2, the yellow line is kind of getting below or really close to minus 400, and does it for a couple times, like here, like first time over here, and then stays like in this area here. So this is basically the downtrend, right? So when it is going to switch to the long, to the uptrend, to the long side. So the first thing that has to happen is this point here, when for the first time after it was below minus 400, or at this area, so this is the first point, it has to come back to plus 400 or somewhere around it, really close to it. And then it has to get back to 0, right? And this is the second part of this setup. So when this happens for the first time after it was minus 400, in the point 2, which is like I described, when it gets to 0 after it hit plus 400, right here you start looking for longs. And how I trade it is, let's see, where is it exactly? Right, it's somewhere here. So this is that point. This is that point in price, right here, somewhere over here. Let me put it. Okay. So this is just based on the Momo 2 indicator. It will tell you that, okay, we have trend change, and like I said, we wanna start looking for longs. Or if you are really aggressive, you can just initiate your long position. But what I would suggest and what I'm doing is I usually open first position, which is very small, the initial one, like one lot or something like that. Depends how much how big of a position you're trading. And then I'll do the usual stuff. So I will wait for the level to add to this position, and the levels are, the gray bands. So I would wait for this price on the gray band to add to a position, or sometimes to initiate the long position, right? So that would be the entry. Sometimes you will see the horizontal levels, this one, right? This one, which are really very nice for this setup too. So probably these levels were somewhere here. So I would probably get in with the second position here and then add at the gray band. But usually the bands are the most accurate entries, like the best risk reward ratio you will find at the bands. Or even better, if band confluence the horizontal level, right? Okay, so let me clear this up. Okay, so that was the place where we initiated our long position. Here we added to this position. And how long do we hold it? Well, basically you can hold it until there is the another signal, right? So when there is a reversion, and the reversion would be if we would get the yellow Momo 2, let's say it gets like here to a minus 400 for the first time, because before it's just in this over 0 area, so there is no reversion. The first reversion we might get starts somewhere here. It almost hit minus 400. So if it would get to 0, then we would start to look for shorts, right? So if it would do something like that. One other thing which is really important, and I've noticed it time and time again, is if you, so this is the start of the uptrend, right? Because this is the point one, but at this point we don't initiate a trade. We wait for the pullback, but this is like the whole structure begins here. So this is the first time that it goes above 400, right? So first time. This is the second time, right? And this is the third time. And usually what you'll see that after the Momo 2 goes 3 times above plus 400 or really near plus 400, like not like here, but more like this, it will be a good signal to reduce reduce your size of your position, usually take out some profits and be more careful, right? So do not add up there, or more like reducing the risk or even closing down your position. Like the largest number of the largest number of hits I've seen was just 4. So it went up 4 times. So like somewhere here, 4, and that was it. That was over for the whole swing up, right? So let's maybe see some other example, and maybe I'll find a short example. Give me a sec. Okay, this is like 2 months ago or something like that. This one is interesting. It's a bit more difficult. At some point I'll show you that. So over here, somewhere like this area here. Whoa, I didn't want that. Yeah, so we probably had some kind of a long, because actually the price was going really, that was a really good uptrend, and this one was, I believe it was the third time that was above 400, and it was a good place to to get out somewhere here. Anyway, so we were in an uptrend, right? And then the Momo 2 dropped to the right, it dropped to minus 400. So this is our first step to reversion, and then it got back to 0, right? So that's the step number 2. So it happened somewhere here, right? Okay. So from this point on, we are looking for, we either initiate first short, or we wait for some kind of a level that we're interested in, and we get in short. Okay, so the short setup starts at point 1, but entry it starts at point 2. So we either get in somewhere here, or maybe wait for the gray bands to get in, right? So what happens next is that we didn't get the to the plus 400, so we are still in this down trend, right? And we nicely get down to the gray bands. There actually a price was the minimum of the price was somewhere here, and at this point we see the setup that is basically these green dots here, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes. That's the next setup, right? The counter trend setup. And what you want to do at this point is you want to either reduce the size or just put your position to break even. And what happens is that this setup, actually, this one made the price to move a lot higher, right? So you either were stopped out at break even from your average positions to right here, or you could just reverse your position because it's a very strong setup, right? Or you close down your position. Either way, you shouldn't lose any money on this trend setup, right? Okay, so starting from this point 1 up until this moment here, the Momo 2 shows the downtrend, actually, right? Because it was the first hit minus 400, and it never went to plus 400 until here. Okay, and so this would be our point 1 to change trend to the long side, right? This is our point 1, but we start looking for a trade, for a long setup over here, right? This is when Momo 2 went back down to 0 after it hit the plus 400 for the first time, right? So let me see, where is it? Somewhere here, right? You see, it's again like you really want to nail the price at the level that has a good risk reward. Usually when it's in the middle between the bands, between the gray bands, it's a bit more risky trade. That's why I said that I like to initiate the trade there, but I'm not eager to go full throttle on it or something like that. So this would be the perfect entry, right? Close to the gray line, right? So this here is our short setup, which was basically stopped by this one, by this setup, these green dots. It was a strong long setup, so we're not in the position anymore. Now starting from this point 1, and then here's point 2, we started to look for longs, and this is our optimal entry. But notice that really shortly after we entered the market, the Momo 2 actually does the first step to go short, right? Because for the first time after it was plus 400, it went down to minus 400, indicating that okay, we might get short entry at some point in near future. And where is it? It's of course when we get to close to 0, or you can wait for 0, so over here, right? So we went long over here, right? and somewhere around this area, so it would be, so it would be like over here. Okay, we have a short setup, right? So this is where we wanted to look for shorts. Okay, so I hope it's actually, you know, it's actually pretty clear. Let me get rid of these lines again, and we'll summarize what we were talking about. So okay, so again, first time Momo 2 gets to minus 400 after it was plus 400, right? So number one, short, right? Number two, short, is where you start looking for shorts, right? So it's somewhere here, right? Then it's still nothing, right? And here is number 1L. So we know that there's going to be long entry and change in trend, which comes here. So it's number 2L. At number 2, we know that we want to start looking for longs, right? Then here's again number 1S. So step 1S, we know we're going to get short entry. And here is number 2S. So step 2, short, which is initiating the short entry. So basically this one was short, right? Somewhere here, and here was long, and this one was short. Now in the meantime, we had this setup here, which was indicating to go long, which we're, like I said, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Right here, you can, if you were long here, you could add to these positions here long, and here is short again. So you would go like this, this, and this to this area, which is again the long signal from the counter trend setup. Okay, but for the trend setup, this is the most important, right? So first time minus 400, then get back to 0, initiate a position. First time plus 400 after it was minus 400, we know we're gonna get a long setup, and the long setup comes when it gets back to 0. First time it's minus 400, it gets back to 0, and we know we have a setup to go short. Okay, so that's basically the Momo trend setup. Okay, now kind of a complementary or something that is worth really worth noting is these counter trend setups, which we're going to talk about now. So in the order flow section on the same chart, you will see these green or red dots. Okay, so let's clear this chart. So basically the setup comes from both of these lines, the Momo 2, which is the yellow one, which we used to the Momo trend setup, and but here in this setup we also use the blue line, which is Momo 1, which is based on orders in the order book and the dynamics, cumulative dynamics there. And basically you will see these dots on the chart. For example, here are these green dots, which indicate that setup, and greens are basically for longs, and we don't have red here, but I'll show you red in a minute. And they occur when both Momo 1, so the blue line, and the Momo 2, the yellow line, goes below minus 400 at the same time, or are in this area below minus 400 at the same time, and or they are both above 400, and that would mean the short signal. So what it basically means is that because these indicators are actually, what they are showing is the force behind the transaction flow, right? So in case of Momo 2, the slower one, or the yellow one, these are buyers like initiating trading or taking control. And the same goes here. These are also buyers and sellers depending on the direction of these lines, but they are on the blue indicator. It just shows you the dynamics of the orders and the order book, and the yellow line is the dynamics of the actual transactions. So basically the premise is that when they go both below, for example, like here, below minus 400, it means that, yeah, they were in control, but taking the average amount of effort historically that buyers or sellers are able to put into the market at any given time is like kind of limited, right? So market goes to overbought or oversold because of the huge effort that either on transaction side or order side was made by buyers or sellers, and if both of these things happen below minus 400, it means that market is really oversold, which means actually that the sellers made so much effort for in this particular moment, in this particular time, that it will be really hard to add more and to keep up the pace which they generated before. So that's the basic explanation as what these indicators actually are. So a couple things here. First of all, here's the same idea when you want to initiate this trade. It's not like whenever you see this green dot, you want to be long. This only shows you that these two indicators are in a proper place, right? But same as with the Momo trend setup, you really want to get the right price. So the first thing is the dot, right? You want to see the dot. Okay, we got a dot. The second thing is we want to have a good trade location. You can see that it's below the gray um, gray band. So it's a great trade location, right? Okay. And the third thing is that you want to see the blue line, so the Momo 1, higher than the Momo 2. So basically you want to see that the buyers are actually starting to do something, and they are doing something in order book. So there are patterns which actually mark the buyers in the order book. So you gotta have the dot, you gotta have the trend location, and the minimum for it, in my opinion, it's a gray band. If you really want to be aggressive, you can try the horizontal lines, but like I said, I like to see the gray bands. And the third point, which is really important, it will usually be like that. It usually is at this point that the blue line, the momentum 1, is going to be higher than the yellow line. So that's a go, right? But you can see right here, for example, look at this situation. So the first thing is, okay, we have a dot, right? So there's 1, condition 1. Okay, we have a dot. Second condition is met because the price is at or even below the gray band. Okay, and you would go long here, right? And you would get a loss, or you would really have to, I don't know, add to this position to average it down, because but we don't want to do that. And but as you can see, the third condition is not met, because at this point we didn't see any of, look, this is the first dot here, right? The second one, third one, we didn't see any sign of the buyer, right? The first sign of a buyer was here, when the blue line, the momentum 1, so the order book, actually started to print some patterns that showed us, yeah, okay, there might be a buyer here. So I will show you where exactly it happened. You see, yeah, it happened here. So it was the bottom. It actually price didn't get much lower than this. That was somewhere here was the bottom, right? But we also yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna confuse you more, but this is really important, especially at this, vertical moves, really hard decline, and most of these levels were crushed, right? But we wanted to see some kind of a sign that there are buyers actually there, and this is it, and this is actually quite nice price location. Now the other thing is, we talk about it a lot in the chat room. You see these horizontal lines, green horizontal lines, and they are below, almost like below the bands, and this is a great trade location. You just take the midpoint of these green horizontal lines, and this was actually almost to the tip, the bottom. So this is a great trade location for that trade. So we might start somewhere here, because all the 3 conditions are met. This is the third condition, right? and it's somewhere here, and it's a good trade location with like the perfect trade location over here, so you can get in here or add here, and the price actually went up. So yeah, these are our two setups. Maybe I'll find the a short one, do the short side. Give me a sec. Okay, this one's really nice and shows a very important thing. So we're not gonna look for a minute at the indicators, because we know that when there's a red dot, then there is a setup, and the setup is that you can see that both indicators are above, above 400, and over here, right? So here, 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 and here. Okay, but what's important here is that we didn't have a trade location, because the trade location for this setup here is over here, for this one is over here, for this one is like over here, right? And so anytime the price would get to a gray band, you would short. And the first time it did get to this was somewhere here. So you had like 1, 2, 3 setups, but no trade location, no price location for this setup. And over here was your trade, right? Now let's look at the indicators, and we'll try to connect it with our Momo trend setup. Okay, let's delete these. Okay, so somewhere here was a short setup here, right? Because well, the short trend was somewhere here, and it actually initiated somewhere. I think I showed you the same chart, but it was right. Okay, so somewhere here is like the short. I don't know how many times it was a short actually there. Never mind. But so the first time the Momo 2 hit plus 400 after it was minus 400 is here. So this is our trend step number 1. Then it gets back to 0, and it's our long condition number 2. So over here we can initiate our long, wait with the orders somewhere here, right, and we go long. Now we can see that we have potential short counter trend, but we need this level to be hit to get short. And you can see right here what I told you about that. Okay, this is first time it hit 400 is here, then you have second time, then you have a third time, which I told you that it's really important to count these times when it hits plus 400, and it's here. So I would reduce some position here, and or even close it down. And in this case it was 1, 2, 3, and then there is 4, which is a lower high, so it's kind of tricky. But and here is the 5th, right? So last leg up, really hard, and then even harder decline, right? And that was plus the setup with gray band, right? Because I think the high was somewhere here, for this bar, and for this bar high was actually at the band. So this is like a perfect short setup, right? Because we were in a long trend all this time. All this time was long trend. All this time, right? But here it was a fifth time that the Momo 2 went to plus 400. Add to that, we have again for fourth time, for the first time, we have a red mama dot, and we actually hit the band. So this is the perfect short setup here. It's counter trend, but we know that the trend is really exhausted. It was actually exhausted over here when the Momo 2 hit the 400 for the third time during that period. So basically, it's for me it's kind of no-brainer, right? And yeah, we go down, and we go down. This is our first dot, which was actually a pretty good trade location here, and yeah, and price did something like this, I think, and then it went down, but we had a trend change here. You see, we have a short, so it's first, and then it's short trade initiations somewhere here. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty automatic. It's not something complicated once you get used to it. Now the thing is that you might be confused at first, because there are two kinds of trades, and one is trend trade and the other is counter trend. But they really work together most of the time, because like here we are in the uptrend, right? Starting from here, right? And then you suddenly get, okay, but we have a red Momo. Yeah, we have a red Momo to go short. Okay, yeah, here. But look, it's really a lot of place to go long, because here's your trade location. You want to get as close to these gray bands for a counter trend trade as possible. And this is the first time when you get there, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 moments. It's like when it's over 3, it's really it should really be a great setup with the low risk. And so yeah, so this is how you trade the order flow section and the Momo indicators. There's one more setup that I want to show you. Let me get the chart. Okay, here's the setup. It's kind of rare, and for a long time I didn't notice it, but here it is. Color this. Right, so you probably see what's going on here. It's when the momentum 2, so the transaction momentum is below minus 400, and the momentum on order book is the Momo 1 is above 400. Okay, you can see that divergence, right? And it actually kind of looks like a pretty good setup historically. It's like about 90% of time when this happens, you should always go um, with the direction um, of Momo 2 in this sense that it means that the market is oversold in this case, so it will go up, right? So, and it usually is a pretty significant movement, like here. Okay, you got this divergence here, and you just get long. Okay, so if Momo 2 was above 400 and Momo 1 was below, so the opposite situation, you just would go short. Now, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use it in my portfolio of strategies, because I have kind of a lot of them, but I will definitely use them to get out of a trade or significantly reduce the position if I'm in a opposite situation. Like let's say I'm long and I see this setup, then I want to significantly reduce the size that I'm trading, because it seems that this setup is really powerful. But the funny thing is that I can't actually find the reason why it behaves like that, and that's why I'm a bit hesitant to to include it as my regular setup that I'm gonna trade. But maybe it after a couple more of these, I will get more confidence that this is the way to trade it. Okay. Right. So I thought I'm gonna do some more, and well, basically the video is like, again, it's 47 minutes. It's I don't know how to do the shorter videos. It's I hope this is simple for you. These are like two main setups that I'm using on intraday basis. The other one is the market profile, which is not on the charts. The market profile, my analysis of market profile, these are pretty automatic too. I almost automated it. So I know a lot of people are writing and about the kind of impossibility of automating market profile, but I think I kind of have a pretty good algo for this. So my market profile analysis right now, for now, is in the comment section above the chat in our community section. So you can always see what's my actual position on market profile, where is the position reverse or something like that, and one or two words about the situation on market profile. So this one is not on charts yet, but I'm thinking about it. The one more thing that I didn't include in charts as of yet is the order flow pivot. As you know, I posted in a chat room, and it's kind of hard to code. It's a bit more complicated, and whenever I try to code it, I get a lot of errors like this. It just gets the wrong pivot. Like if you know how to calculate it, it's really easy to eyeball this if you have all the values and stuff. But maybe I'm not that great of a coder yet, but at some point I will add it on charts for sure. But I still need to perfected in sense of the algorithm which calculates it. But other than that, I post it whenever I see it. I post it on in a chat room. But it's not something that is obviously every day. It doesn't happen every day. Uh, so it doesn't shift like every day. It might stay, for even for a couple of sessions, it might stay the same. So yeah, these are the two other intraday stuff things that I'm using, and you're not gonna see it on the charts. And this is basically the these two, so Momo trend and the Momo dat, which is counter trend trade, and then there is a market profile, and from time to time there is the order flow pivot, and that's actually for day trading. That's these are the four major things that I'm looking at, that I'm using, and there's always something to trade. There's always some kind of a position that I'm in with these four. Now the rest of this, I have to do the other video on it. These are gonna be some multi-day and swing trading setup, and even midterm for S&Ps. And also there is the portfolio stuff. So I'll catch you on the next one, on the next video on it. So I hope it helps. If you have any questions, you know how to contact me, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.